All right. So, in an effort to continue to bring you a view that you cannot see, I'm super excited about today. Um, a lot of times I'll ask a doctor, how many times, have you been in another doctor's office? And the crazy thing is, they're almost like embarrassed to give me the number. So, everyone, think about that. How many times have you been in another doctor's office, watching, observing, learning, seeing what they do? And I have a theory that you could have a person who opens up their own practice and has actually been in less than 10 offices themselves. Sometimes, usually, it's like a 5. So today, what's going to be great is, and also remember that what happens with your office is it becomes like it shrinks up into a box, right? So everyone, you go there the same every day. It looks the same every day. We don't see things, and you need people from the outside to come and see your office in a different way. So I think we're up to something like, we've done over 35,000 all-day training experiences, and around the world, right? And so thinking about this, and I think, I don't know, did one of you do, so Renee, you
Yes.
are our all-time leading trainer. So first of all, I want to thank you so much for
Yeah.
that. Pretty crazy,
Yeah,
right?
it is crazy.
Yes.
Thank you, though. Yes,
So
appreciate that.
been in over 1,200, delivered 1,200 on-site experiences. So think about that. Now, some of them have been in the same office, so it's not
Yeah.
1,200 different offices. But if you guys think about this, we're going to share a little bit of her view of what that looks like. 30 years in the profession, but so it's funny, you came here in 2014.
Yes.
So 11 years of doing this here, which
Yeah.
is awesome, and we're
Yeah.
super
I
thrilled.
love it. I love it.
And then Lindsay Waters. So I think, was it 10 years, right? So 10 years in the industry. So between the two of you, there's 40 years of industry experience. You guys,
Yeah.
Yes.
you just combine it that way.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
like that result.
Yeah. So 650 trainings. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Halfway there, Renee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Getting close.
chasing down Renee's record.
I
So
know.
Renee's like the LeBron James of the training department. She's
Yeah.
breaking records left and right.
I don't know. They called me the OG, and I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. Is that a compliment
It is.
or is
Yeah.
that
It
a?
is.
And I
It's
was
what
like,
young
okay,
people call old
yeah,
people that
yeah,
are good.
Yeah, that's right.
Just so yes, you do.
Okay.
Wonder, right?
Yeah,
So,
I wasn't sure at first. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
the
Thank
GOAT,
you.
the OG. So listen, first of all, I'm super appreciative of both of you, and so the way our program works is it's a combination of different things, from doctor coaching to virtual lessons to these on-site training experiences to people coming to the university, and it's really that whole soup that makes it work, right? So it's a team effort. So
Yep.
we're actually at the training center today in Atlanta, and it was funny, we just had a fire alarm, so we were outside sweating a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll just think cool
Interesting.
thoughts, and then we walk in and there's the lights on us, so it's
Yes.
good. Okay, so let's, I know that, and by the way, they're both pretty polished at saying the right things, and so I want to remind all of us that these are not necessarily clients that are listening, it's people trying to understand how to run a successful practice. This is like our contribution to the profession, in the sense of they can listen to this for free and learn some things, right?
Great.
And so let's start with, maybe you want to go to what attracted you to coming and trying to help people do better. Do you remember that? So it'd be like, you want to start, Renee? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
So you're like working in an office, and how
Yes.
did you end up coming to us, out of
Yeah,
curiosity?
yeah.
Do you remember?
No, working in an office probably 15 years. By the time I left there, really had worked every seat. So started as a dental assistant and left as the office manager. And I just felt like there had to be more, right? Something else different to do that would push me, I guess. And so a friend of mine had worked with Scheduling Institute then as a client.
Yeah.
And said, "Hey, you got to check them out, right? They've really helped us a lot in our office." And so I did my research and reached out. And I remember meeting with Carrie, and she asked me the same question, like, why do you want to do this? And and maybe you talk about all the years of experience. I think for me, it's if we don't help the younger people learn how to do it right the best way, then they're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. And anything that we can teach them that would eliminate them and help them, spear them to their goals a little faster.
That's awesome.
Yeah, would be my responsibility.
Did you think you had that inside of you? Or was it a little bit like, oh, I think I can do this, I'll try it? Because obviously it's a talent you have, which is great. So did you kind of think it was in there?
Yeah.
Okay,
I kind of thought it was in there.
That's awesome.
You're never sure
Right, until
because
you get
anything
out
new
there.
is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was hopeful.
And over the years of doing this, I mean, so if you think about it, you put on a lot of miles, a lot of hotel rooms, a lot of nights away, all that stuff. But during those hours that you get to work with the team, right?
Yeah.
You're basically attempting to get a team. If you think about this, they're going in and doing the heavy lifting for the doctor who doesn't ever do it because they're in the back treating the patient. So what you have to understand is these guys are coming into an office, pulling the team together, and trying to improve all the processes, the words, the language, everything. And because no doctor has the time to treat all the patients, do all the management, do all the training, they just don't do it, right?
Right.
So so when you think about, so can we talk, okay, so you come in and you think, okay, this would be great, I'll be helping people. Have you found that to be the case? In other words, you've helped a lot of people, right?
Yes.
So you get to see the before and the after.
Yes, and that is amazing. And I do have to say that it's not always to get the after, right? Sometimes the beginning can be very difficult. You've got mindsets that are hesitant. They've never had anybody in their office before. And they're like, what are you doing here? What are you going to do to us?
Yes.
This means change. And so it's not always easy to get them to the point that really at the end of the day, they're happy to be there. But when you first start with them, they don't really understand that that's what it's going to be like. So.
Which I think is the thing that a lot of people like to avoid, right?
Yeah. It puts them out of their comfort zone. And, first of all, even a doctor I was speaking with actually a couple days ago, talking to him, he wants to become a client of ours. And he's like, wow, I just don't know. You guys come in my office and you make some recommendations, but he says it's just scary. What if you say things that, I think look really good or right? And so his team's afraid of that when we come in. And then you've got a doctor that if they don't know us, they're hesitant in that way as well. So helping them to get to the great part sometimes is definitely a journey, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, when they get there, it is so exciting.
So, Lindsay, you came in, you were a dental hygienist first.
Yeah.
And then how did you come to SI?
So I wanted to stay in the dental field, and I was moving out of state, and I was stumbling on different things on the internet, and it said, "Are you fun? Are you energetic? Are you outgoing?"
So funny. You always
I was
rate
like-
high on fun and funny. So.
I fuel off of humor, so
Yes.
it was one of those things where travel was attractive to me, and it was maximizing my talent and something I didn't know existed.
I love that.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
you are like notoriously funny, so we'll see if we
Jeez.
can try to extract some of that for you today. So walk me through like is there something that surprises you? Like Renee tapped on that day one, and it's funny for people to understand. It's like day one of a training isn't always fun,
Yeah,
but it is necessary.
completely.
And then day two becomes easier. But are there any things that have just shocked you? Like, are there things that still sort of shock you about, like, oh my gosh, do I really have to deal with this still? Like, is it?
Yeah. I mean, I think walking in and being able to say I'm a dental hygienist is nice, but then you get the attachment of you must be a diva too.
Right.
And
So the team
that
is like,
doesn't
oh,
surprise
great.
me. Yeah. So thinking about, how do we get clarity and how do we open them up to kind of uncross the arms and think about how can I be better at what I do and serve my patients? We aren't taught that capacity in hygiene school. We're tooth janitors to some degree. So I think it's been such a cool blessing to see the mindset change from janitorial to patient care and being an advocate and knowing there's tools and resources for that. I didn't know anything like this existed.
So let's talk about that. I always say I've never met a doctor who doesn't think they put patients first. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, no doubt.
That the worst office you go into,
Yep.
they believe that they are patient first 100%. But
Absolutely.
is that true? I mean, like, it's a
Lindsay?
perception, right? Like, they're like, oh, we
Absolutely a
put the patient
perception.
first, but
Yes.
would you guys agree that, or give me an example of, like, that the office is really constructed to the convenience of the team?
They really are. And they think that they give a patient experience because they're all friendly and nice. But what are they doing that sets themselves apart from the other guy down the street because they think they're nice
Right.
too? But there are so many special little things that we've been able to teach and show them, Jay, through the years that they now understand, okay, yeah, we thought we were really
Sure.
good at this.
Sure.
But yeah, the
Yeah,
perception versus the reality is really what we are uncovering every time we go in.
Yeah, it's
Right.
almost like Netflix. It's like, what is the episode called? It's
Yeah.
Chaos in the Clinic, actually. When
Yeah.
you get there, I know the system, I know the process, I know exactly what I should be doing. But in reality, it's like the schedule's a mess, nothing's on
Wow.
time, we don't know where to go, what to say, how to do it, and who's leading us.
Yeah.
Who's the leader
Right.
in that moment?
Yeah.
So how about, okay, for fun, so let's think about this. It's the nervousness. So again, just, this is kind of funny, right? Like, it's the perception I'm doing everything right, even though the money's not working out and, people are leaving and blah, blah, blah. And you're going to tell me how to do it right, but I'm afraid you're going to screw it up. Right? So, like,
Yes, that's right.
screw up the thing I've already screwed up.
Yeah.
So, like, if your
Yeah.
practice isn't making a lot of money, if your team isn't happy, your retention's a problem, patients don't come back, right? I mean,
Yeah.
would you agree that you've gone into offices that every indicator suggests they have a problem,
Absolutely.
and they're worried about changing it,
That's
like
right.
it's going to get worse?
That's right.
Which
Talked
is
to a
kinda
guy the
sad.
other day. He had gotten a disc from us on a phone call that he requested.
Yeah.
Finally listened to it 20 years later.
Wow.
He didn't want to hear the truth about the reality, right? Yeah.
So let's talk about
It's
that.
a mess.
Let's go to doctors' fear of saying and doing anything with their team, and what you notice about that. Like, because a lot of times what we're getting paid to do is to do that dirty work, right?
Yep.
So do you find them to be a little like they're avoiding this a lot?
They're 100% avoiding it. Sometimes I feel like they have an agenda when we come in of, you're here, this is the list of all the things that I need you to cover today, and help me tell this to my team. And I think, through the training, we're able to create a space where that conversation is healthy. And I don't think confront needs to be a negative space. It can be a fail forward in a positive direction. So creating that environment to communicate, I think we're good communicators to relay that conversation between the people and give the doctor the format to speak on that long term and not just one day.
That's great. I was in the dentist chair the other day, and I was watching feedback being given, and I was like, man, this is funny. This is brutal. Like, it is hard to do it in front of the patient too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which is, I think, why they find making
Did
a
it with-
space for it, to your
Yeah.
point, is a huge deal. Like, a lot of you might be listening to this and you're like, like, there's a lot of questions you could ask yourself, like, okay, if I got a stopwatch and I said, okay, I'm going to hit the stopwatch every time you're really training somebody, which would be not while you're treating a patient, right? Like if you were really, it'd be like the time is so little, right?
Right.
But yet that tension between the doctor, the hygienist, the assistant, man, the patient, patient can feel that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
A lot.
Yes.
So understand that this is funny, and I think it's true, and this is what we do, right? Is like being smart enough to know that you get someone else to say what you want to say, and you have a better chance of them listening. Sometimes we
Yes.
become also, don't you think the doctor becomes ineffective sometimes at this?
Well, and he's so protective too, even with us. Don't you find, Lindsay, that, sometimes even when we point out the reality, he wants to say, yeah, but to just kind of protect them. And yeah. And really though, if he would just address it, right, and allow us to, like, let's talk about it. It's all around the communication and the solution we can put forward, right? But they, yeah.
But fundamentally, people do not do the right thing on their own. And this is what you guys need to remember. You can hire a bunch of incredible people.
Yeah.
If you drop them in a situation, they have default positions. And that default position is 100% never the way it should be done. Meaning, and it is kind of, there are things you say, things you don't say, right? Things we do. And that training on those nuances is so important. And what these guys are doing is empowering team members to perform their work at a totally different level. And that performance is not about, we were just doing something upstairs and I asked a question and it was funny, right? Because when I asked a question, there was 20 people in the room and people started answering and, you said something to me and I knew exactly what was happening. Every single person just revealed their bias, right?
Yeah.
It was like, I think we should do this and this. And it was like, they kind of recommended what they do the best, right?
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there going, I shouldn't ask that question. So thinking about, this idea for you, what we figured out is that it's like if you're treating all the patients, managing all the money, giving feedback to the team, training the team on language and gestures and what the patient wants, you're going to drop the ball. You're spinning too many plates or juggling too many balls, and you're going to drop the balls. And so this is where, and what if you guys, I think you guys agree with this, right? You can have a great doctor.
Yeah.
You have a bad team.
Yeah.
You have a problem.
You sure do.
Totally.
You sure do.
And we could flip it around.
Yep. Yes.
But, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But normally, do you think they go together? Meaning that, give me an example of a new client. And is it fair to say that the team has potential, but the doctor can't extract the potential?
No doubt. No doubt. Don't you think, Lindsay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it's because the doctor doesn't even know what he doesn't know. Right?
Right.
So yeah, he might perceive that everything in the office is going really well, but then we spend a morning with him or even a couple of hours and we find out Sally Sue's doing it this way and Jimmy John's got a whole nother plan. So nothing is really happening that's consistent. And then for him to try to be the one to bring all of that together and to understand the best process, because what he thinks might be the best process, is it really even the best process nowadays, right?
Sometimes it's your bias process.
That's exactly right. So now you're going to try to teach that to a team, and the respect that they're going to get often is just, oh well, he'll change his mind tomorrow. Do we really even need to do it today, right? So I think, too, with us coming back into the office, then we can help that doctor get that point across, but empower the people by what we say will impact them to change even more than he ever could. Don't you think?
A big part for me, too, is just setting the stage. They're having those types of conversations where they think they're extracting talent, but it's at a daily huddle.
Yeah.
So we're going right into the working day.
Right.
And that's not the place to develop people.
Yeah. Can't train in the huddle.
No.
It's not the purpose.
No.
I've been guilty of thinking you can do that.
Yeah.
I'll have a 3-hour huddle this
Yeah,
morning.
yeah,
No.
you have done that.
I mean, yes. We all do it. Okay, so let's talk about some of the characteristics of, now again, you guys think about this in multiples, right? So if you think about the number of eyeballs that have been on these guys over this period of time. So if I, maybe you go into an office and there's 20 people in there, 10 people in there, right? I mean, you've seen all the different
50,
sizes, right?
Yeah, 100.
So
100,
collectively,
Yeah.
it's a lot of eyeballs. Can we talk a little bit about why the successful doctors keep training and the unsuccessful doctors never train? Like, does it shock you how many times that somebody will understand and want you to keep coming back and coming back and coming back? It's like something goes off in their head, right?
Yeah.
Are those two types of doctors?
Completely. And what's funny to me is you didn't learn molar endo overnight. So the repetition of what you're doing for yourself and for your team is the only way to continue to flex that muscle. It's not a heartbeat, so it has to be flexed and continue to be worked. So really putting the time and the dedication and separating clinical aspects from what I need to do personally and then how to actually execute that when I have a patient in front of me are so different.
Are you saying that doctors have an unreasonable expectation of how much time it takes to train someone?
Totally, completely.
Like 100%.
100%.
Right?
Am I allowed to
Every
give that number?
doctor.
Can I give that statistic?
Yeah, like
100.
for sure, you think, and again, we know if you ask the question or you put a timer on it and you add the time up, there would be no time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm
there
going to
would be
hire
no
you, you go
time.
to work, and,
And I don't know how many times I've said, using that story out of the book, what is it? Stephen Covey's Highly Effective People talks about, sharpening the saw.
Right.
And if you don't take time out to sharpen the saw, but you just come in and work all day, you think you're being productive when really you're just busy.
So,
busy.
okay, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So I'm watching this. You're going to see it like, well, I don't need training. I'm fine, right?
Yeah, we're
So,
busy.
I mean, which is what everyone thinks, right? So let's talk about that progression, okay?
Okay.
Meaning you've been in trainings where the client acts like he doesn't even want you to be there, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's so new that
Yeah,
they're just
they're
weird and strange and like they think they're there to defend the team and the practice is not doing well, but yet we're acting like it is.
That's
so
right. Yeah.
what are your thoughts about how that ego breaks down? Right? Have you seen it break down with somebody where they go from kind of like, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the hardest part is getting them to hold up a mirror and self-reflect and understand that they have that level of ego and point it out in a way that you are putting the best energy first. And if you're not willing to accept that first, you can only lead by how you're developing the example. So if that's how you're going to defend yourself, the team's going to respond that way too. And we're really going to get nowhere if we don't open that box up and really approach it head on.
Which means you have a doctor making excuses for themselves, giving the team permission to make excuses. And then you have a very, I mean, it's a tough cycle, right, to turn around. So I think that's a lot of what we do, right? You see a client when they come into coaching, all of a sudden they start to shift their paradigm a little bit, think of it differently. Maybe we ask the question, hey, what could we do differently? Oh, there's 100 things we could do differently. We do them differently. We get a different result. That sort of perpetuates itself, right? I mean, I think.
And then you start seeing some buy-in.
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, maybe this is a good thing.
And now the patient writes a review. This is the best office I've ever been in.
Yep.
So let's talk patient centricity. So I think the truth is that and again, I've never met a doctor who said they don't have that they don't have great patient care, right? Well, okay. But then we go do an audit. We go in the office, you're like, this is below average treatment, right? And so the goal here is just as a reminder, and listen, if you want to hire somebody who plays at another level, feel free to. But if you hire us, the goal is to make your office the best office the patient has ever been in.
That's right.
And they're to say it. It doesn't matter if you say it. You might already think you have the best office, but you've never heard it from a patient. So I got news for you. You do not have the best office, right? I mean, this is the
That's
truth.
right.
If they say it, you have it. If they don't, you don't.
That's right.
And I think that, just for everyone to sort of gut check and be like, it'd be like if you invite someone over to your house, they say nothing. Maybe you don't have as nice, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yes,
you
that's
thought,
right.
God, I redid my living room, and somebody walks in, you go, what do you think? Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
So we go off the measurement of what the patient says. And so the number one thing is how many other patients they send. So can we talk about this? Like, if you've now seen offices start with
Oh my
very
gosh.
few patient referrals
Yeah,
to
zero.
literally getting
Hundreds.
over 100 a month,
Yeah.
right?
Hundreds.
Isn't
That's
that kind
right.
of shocking?
Yes, very shocking. And they're shocked too. Like they thought they were doing really good when they had 25.
Right.
And now when they're seeing them come in and they're excited. Like it changes the whole mindset in the office, Jay. When they start seeing things happen differently and the way the patients are responding, everybody's mindset, their engagement levels, it's just a whole different place. And then it really gets fun for us as a trainer,
Yeah.
right? Breaking through those first couple, it's tough. But once they start to see the results, then it's a great day for everybody. It's powerful. And the team, oh my God, how they buy in and take initiative to do things different. They're empowered to take things now that they used to would say, oh, that's not my job, right? Or shy away from. Where now they're like, they have ideas and they're coming to the table, they even put their makeup on this morning, I mean, it's a whole different practice. And then the patients are loving all of that and the fun in the office. So it's that's why I do what I do still this day. So.
And I think that's the part that, we can sit here and talk about it.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, we get a client who believes they have great culture. They actually don't.
Yeah.
There's no evidence. There's no, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so think about the environment. I love what you're saying there. It's like when we talk about culture, that's what culture is, right? It's like a winning culture. It's like patient feedback is all positive, not negative. I think a lot of times we go into an office that isn't good, they don't even like the patients, do
That's
they?
right. Yes. No.
They earned the title and the role, and they thought that was the end game. They're
But
not
don't you
looking
think
into
it's
the
because
future.
the way we treat the patient? Like, if we were videotaping and I was at the front desk, I think there's things I could do to I could show you how to make a patient be negative.
Oh,
And
yes.
there's like some pretty easy ones, right? Like when they walk in at 3:00 and you have an appointment at 3:00 and you say, "May I help you?"
Well, I'm at the dental.
My line is like, "No, I was just wandering in here at 3 for the hell of it."
Yeah,
Like
right.
when I go up to a front desk and I say that, I'm like, "Yeah, just wandering around.
Yeah.
I'm here for my appointment, right?" I mean, I'm like, what do you
That's
think
right.
I'm here
Yeah,
for?
exactly.
But don't you think that there's like that just turns, right?
Yes.
And
It sure does.
And
It
what
sure does.
what I want everyone to be encouraged about, and this is what these guys do every day, is like there is no magic bullet.
No.
It's sort of a multi-step process. And it's reframing everything, reframing it around the patient, not around the team. So, right, we battle
Yes.
team centricity versus patient centricity, right?
All the
So talk
time.
about that. So what do you think about what do you think is hard? I mean, why is it so hard for people to truly put the patient first over their own needs? I mean, and do you think that's something they struggle with?
Yeah, I think there's a big level of going through the motions and just following the check mark boxes versus, what am I trying to achieve and really setting a goal and understanding the patient's goal and then putting those two applications together of how are we both going to go in the same direction, knowing what the patient's goal is and how I can best do that. So, really developing those two streets into the same direction. We're following the same roadmap.
And we think there's a bit of a listening problem, meaning that the patients many times want more. They're really less concerned about the money than the team member at the front desk is, right? I mean, there's a lot of things where we we get in our own way, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk in the last couple minutes. I know you guys have flights to catch today, so okay, what about any horrible situations? Any really great ones or any really horrible ones that stand out to you, or have you just deleted all of them from your rosy memories?
I don't really have any horrible ones. I really always try to kind of, set the stage correctly to start with and open the communication to try to avoid that. But I
But
had,
what does the worst doctor look like? I mean, like you walk in and you
oh,
go
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
right? Because
yeah.
there's
Yes. So we look around the practice. He wants to show me around, first of all, and it's a place that it might have some dust around the room. The equipment is older, maybe, right?
so no upkeep.
No upkeep, nothing has been done to make the practice look like a place that people would want to spend their money or invest in something. And then the team is going to look all standoffish, and even the doctor is looking at you skeptical. So now here we go, right? How are we going to break down these walls and try to get them to even hear what I could help them with? Yeah, it's an upward struggle. And
Being a critic is
yeah.
not as
No, and that's my win.
yeah.
So that's my win. I was in an office and we were doing the new patient experience training. And in that training, we do a walkthrough through the office and have to tell you, hey, maybe a little paint on the walls would be a good idea, whatever. And so I did that with a client, and I could tell their face was like dropping, and they thought it was great. And
The dirty wall was
that's
great.
right.
This
Yeah,
is
the
where we
dirty
go
wall.
because you're so used to it, right?
They
It's
don't
crazy.
even see
Yes,
it,
yes.
the dead plant that they
Yes.
walk by every day,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And so I was pointing it all out, and we got finished, and I said, you guys, you have to know that's hard for me too.
Sure.
I wanted them to understand that I don't take joy in doing that with them, but if we will together look at some hard things, then we can make it better for everything. And so I had to have that conversation with them. And then at Christmas on their break, oh, I get choked up about it. It was so great. On Christmas on their break, they the whole team came in, and they were painting the walls and redoing the office, and they took pictures and were
A
sharing
sense of
them.
pride, though.
Oh my gosh. And so right in that picture, you could see the whole team dynamics had changed, right? They were all crossed armed when you go in. And now they were all having fun, and they were fixing up the office, and they were so proud of themselves. And today, I think of it often.
I think a lot of what you guys
yeah.
do is bringing that out of the team where a doctor wishes they would participate more, but we don't really know how to get it out of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, we set it up. We talked about, okay, well, when can we do it? What would that look like for you? And so, that's the good thing with us. I feel like when we leave, they all have agreed together what they feel would be best for them. And then we leave them with actionable items that they can come together as a team, talk some more about if they want to, but then finalize and move forward.
Sure.
And they find when they move forward that it's sweet, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any highs, lows, doctor thoughts?
Gosh, yeah.
Males versus females. Tell me about
yeah.
the
I think
difference in working with a
the big-
female doctor
yeah.
and a male doctor.
There's a big dynamic between the male doctor and the female doctors, because the male doctors, usually you're working with a lot of females typically, and they're not going to the source that maybe needs to hear some of those things. So everyone's having conversations behind each other versus approaching what needs to be said and addressing the elephant in the room. And many times in more of the female doctor setting, you see the team members approaching them in almost a motherly way. So they are releasing all the information on everything outside of work. So, really finding that behavior interesting. But again, such an opportunity for us to come in and support them and show them that those things are occurring, because they're not even being revealed to themselves. They're just like, that's the way the office is versus what it could be.
Yeah. But the male versus female dynamics, I don't know if that I have a preference of one I would rather work with, because they both can. I mean, I think any of us, right? It's hard to open up and really.
Well, can we just
say,
be
"Tell
honest
me."
about how brutal the women are to the other women?
Yes, that's right. Huh?
I mean,
No
women are
doubt.
brutal to
Yes.
other women.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of, you hear a lot about men should be nicer to women, but I'm telling you, I've employed a lot of women. Lots of our clients have a lot of women. I mean, it is a brutal environment. And so for a male or a female doctor, if they're the head of the office, to manage all that is a pain. And so, I mean, I think that's reality, but it has to be managed, right? I mean, there has to be rules, there has to be expectations. And I think what happens is a lot of people think, well, if I just let everyone do what they want to do, somehow I'm going to end up with good patient service. That is not accurate, right?
No.
Because that's what we walk into, right?
That's right.
Basically, you can do whatever you want, and that does not create employee engagement. That does not create patients referring other patients.
There's no fun. There's no sense of accomplishment. It's just coming in and working a busy day. They don't have a goal. They don't have anything they're working towards. They just work.
So, do you guys agree that the biggest payoff of training is patient referrals? Like, if you want to look at a monetary value, when we have trained an office, that office is one patient walks in and they go out and they tell someone else and they send somebody else in, right? It's like the magic of this whole process.
That's the biggest compliment possible.
Yeah, it is, right?
And too, even the team starts talking more about the office they work in.
They start promoting it.
They
more,
do.
proud.
So they're proud to speak about it in the community. And so now, So the patients are now marketing for them. The team members are more likely to market for them. And they didn't even know they needed new patients, but now they can't believe how many they have and the number of reviews that they get, right?
So give me some travel stats for you guys. So furthest office, what are some stats that come to you that you know, right? Because been to every state.
Every state.
Every
Have
state.
you been to every state?
Every
Listen,
state.
So you guys have literally trained in every state.
Every
Okay, how
state.
many different countries?
Canada, Ireland, Australia. So that's 3.
Okay.
I've only done 2.
Okay.
3. You think of it, Jay, on 1,200 training days, that's at least one flight to get there and one flight to get back.
Right.
So I have a real hard time counting the number of times I have gotten on and off an airplane.
Sure. Yeah, I was just curious. If you had a stat that
No, I
you-
don't. No,
Like what
all
you track,
50
you know what I
states.
mean?
I do
Like,
track.
yeah,
There
what
is
do
an
you-
app, and I don't know if it has every flight for only my work flights, not personal
Okay.
travel. It's just over 1,500 flights. It also tracks how many nights you've been in a hotel.
Yeah.
So it gives you like a really cool report, and it breaks it
love
all
that.
down for you. And it's so fun. I look at it, I'm just like, okay, this is my level of travel. When people try to explain travel to me, I'm like, let me show you some data.
Oh, that's great. So like you're on the plane, you're like, please, let me look at this.
Or in an office, like they want to, not even a
That's
dental
actually
office.
awesome.
Yeah,
But to be able to show them, like,
They want to tell you, oh, well, you can buy these little travel bottles to put your shampoo in. And you're like, really? Like that's my life.
yeah.
I live
will
in
tell
3 ounces.
you
I
how to-
promise I can teach you
Yeah,
something
that's
on
so
that.
funny.
Yeah, it is so fun.
Well,
yeah.
listen, I just, both of you have just done an incredible job, and I'm super appreciative. And these are personal relationships. So when you guys become our clients, I mean, we're, everyone puts in a lot of work to try to improve your office, and we take it a little
We
personal.
take it real personal.
We're not there to. Sure, we like getting paid, and we have to get paid to get there. But the truth is, we take it pretty personal. And
We
it's,
really do.
And,
We really do.
we have some really incredible clients, right? I mean,
We
it's
do.
amazing the
Yes.
extent of the relationship. If it's watching them grow up, watching them,
Yeah.
I think a lot about when they come in the workshop the first time and they kind of wear some interesting clothes and
yeah.
kind of schlubby and pasty, and then they're a client for like 10 years, and they
Oh, wow.
coming in, they're all relaxed and just been on
Yes.
vacation.
That's
It's funny to me, right?
Yes.
The difference.
Oh my, yes.
Right?
And they're having fun, like they're smiling. They're not gray and tired, right? They're smiling and
Right.
energetic. Yeah, it changes your whole
socializing
life.
to other people,
Socializing,
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot of fun, and same to you, Jay. Like worked a lot of years, but just appreciate the opportunity to be able to go out and work with clients, because the changes that occur in their practices are truly what fills me every
Yeah,
day.
that's awesome.
Right. So, yeah.
So,
we love 'em.
any closing thoughts for somebody listening who's like, what do I do? The importance of training your team, right? Just anything that, like, if you had to sort of summarize it, you guys have any, like, how do you see it, right? I mean, I know how I represent it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but any thoughts on how you guys might see it differently?
I mean, for me, I think it's just that continued development. If you're someone that wanted to learn, you got in the dental field, you enjoy learning, I would hope, to some capacity, and this gives you the format to continue to learn. And it's not a CE course of something, it's development that you can utilize in your personal world too. And I think that's been such a blessing for me to gain confidence that I lacked, or to show talent in different directions that people didn't even know they had either. So it's been a really empowering point for me long term too.
Yeah.
You
I
guys
feel the
have
same.
talent. It's like our philosophy, right? You have talent. You got to bring it out,
Yeah.
and they ain't going to bring it out of themselves, right?
No.
I mean, we
And
have
if
to
you-
team with the doctor to bring it out, what I
Yeah.
think you're describing there, right?
Yeah.
It's
No
like-
doubt.
I tell teams that I remind myself of like a weird, wacky inflatable tube man, those things by car washes and gas stations.
they
And
go, "Oh,"
I'm
yeah.
able to tame that to some degree
Yeah.
because of training and because of coaching. And that gives you that format to think differently than
Yeah.
assuming you're one thing.
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Well,
no
good.
doubt. No doubt.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I know you
Hey,
guys
yeah,
have
yeah,
flights. We
yeah,
got to squeeze
yeah.
this in. So hope you guys enjoyed this, and we will talk soon. Take care. Bye.